guys, welcome back to my channel. I have another video here. This is probably gonna be a little longer again. This is a 2016 Ford F150 and I'm replacing the frame. This truck was in a, I don't know, in a service center or something, and it fell from the lift. Lucky for everybody, nobody got seriously injured or died. So their truck was brought to us and they replaced the bed, which is already here, and that's a brand new one. I had it on one of the carts just standing in there. It's very easy to remove. This 2, 4, 8 bolts. Those are T55 torch 55, and then you just lift it up. You have to remove one bolt on the fuel tank filler, and just lift the bed. It's an aluminum bed, so it's very light. I remove also the stop lights from the back. Let me show you that. So you need to remove the stop lights from the back because the harness is attached to the frame. That's the harness in this. You can also disconnect and remove. This truck was having like a rear view camera. That's an aftermarket. Somebody installed in it, so it was a little hard to remove, but I also got the rear bumper removed. That's the new frame in there waiting to be installed. And let me show you where the accident and why we're replacing the frame. Hopefully this shows up good in the camera. That's where the frame is bent and it's collapsed inside, as you can see there. So what I have done again is removing the bed. I already evacuated the air conditioning, removed the battery tray, and I'm going to start disconnecting the harness to the engine, remove the coolant, disconnect the transmission lines to the radiator. Let me get some light so you guys can see better. On this one you need to disconnect this wire from the positive terminal of the battery. This goes to the fuse, and that's going to stay on the body of the car, which I'm going to lift and then roll the frame back. So I got the battery right here. That's some of the bolts. That's the battery tray. Those are the bolts for the bed. And just like I said, I'm just starting with this one, so I'm going to be showing you how the process goes. Hope you guys like it. Stay tuned. It looks clearer in here, and it's not really much that I have removed. I've removed the coolant expansion tank from the top of the radiator. That one is held by two 10mm bolts, and you have to remove two upper hoses. One that connects to here, right here, and the other one is the one you can see laying. And then the bottom one is just a clip that you pull up with a like a pin puller or a little screwdriver, and then it just shakes it up and comes out. So I'm starting to remove also the wires onto the main fuse box right here in the engine compartment. I just want to show you, and also for my own records, where the wires are located. So we're going to need to remove, well, this one stays the first one. We need to remove that green wire and the red wire, so will be second and third one. Those are the 10mm each, and it looks like that will be the wiring that I need to remove so far on this side. That will be the wiring that I need to remove on this side. Sorry to repeat myself, but sometimes the audio is not the best. Alright, so I also removed, as you can see, the air filter. That is held by a 13mm bolt, and it just pulls up, and then of course the rubber body, which is a 7mm. That is going to give me a better approach and room to disconnect the lines on the master cylinder for the brake system, and then the vacuum line too. On the air filter you need to remove two hoses, two before that one and that one. This one is just a ring that you pull up and then it slides out, and this one you have to push the pin out because it's this. Alright, I got the AC lines disconnected and capped. Make sure whenever you're working in AC that you do this, because the pack oil or the refrigerant oil, it is actually it attracts the moisture. So if you leave the lines open, you're gonna have to do a flush, or otherwise later on the whole air conditioning system it will collapse. So this is the best way to do it. I'm actually gotta cover the compressor because the one I put it fell out, so sorry for the weird angle. So put this one inside there. Yep, that is better. Probably have to look for the one I put in there after. So the lines are capped right here, so you can see that too. I removed the ABS sensor connectors. Are like one is in here, the other one is on the other side. Remove all the connectors from the battery, computer connector, the two heater core hoses that goes to the engine. They're very easy. It's just you push the clips in and the hose comes out. Sorry, I didn't focus in there. I did the same thing with the brake lines. So I capped the pump so it's not dripping and dripping in there. No matter what, I mean, I'm gonna have to bleed that, but I always again like to keep that seal. Same thing with the well, not same thing. I removed the steering link to the steering column. That is a 10mm bolt. What else I did? I'll remove the two hoses from the radiator to the engine. On this side, that's the ABS module. You need to disconnect it because the harness stays on the body. And I also locked the steering wheel, so it stays in place. And now I'm going to raise it up to start working underneath. Okay, I got everything underneath pretty much removed, at least what I need to get the body out. I removed the front bumper. The front bumper is held by 3 21mm bolts. It's pretty easy. You just got to remove this plastic face where usually where the license plate is hold, and then remove the bumper, and then that's it. It has also 3 Christmas tree type clips that hold that wind deflector. Also, I removed the canister. It's pretty easy. It's just, the regular connections that you press in. It has one connector in here, most likely is the vent valve, and then it's held by 10mm bolts. I removed the drive shaft. It's all that one has 12mm 12-point bolts this type. And then on the center where the bearing for the drive shaft, because it's a long shaft, is 15mm. I removed the muffler and the center pipe. Right here we have a 213s. Those are 213s. I removed also all the muffler mounts. Those are 10mm. Same thing in the back. What else? The fuel line I removed too. That's again, it's just a push and a squeeze to get it off. That's the blue connector you see there, or terminal in there. What else? I removed the bolt for the transmission mount. Those are 21mm. What else? Well, I loose up all the suspension. That's a 27mm. These ones, and here for the lower control arm, so I don't have to like crawl under the frame when I have it on the ground. I removed the sway bar that has a 18mm on the sway bar link in there that goes onto the control arm, and then 15mm on the frame where the mount for the sway bar link is. I also marked the sway bar. Make sure you do that just to make sure it's the left side up, and just in case I want to raise, I write on the right side. So I put the bolts there for the motor, for the sway bar link in there, so I don't have to be looking for later on. It's a lot of nuts and bolts that you have to be careful. Make sure that you put them into the right spot. These clips I have not removed. I will have to do that because the new frame doesn't come with that. All the manufacturers try to save pennies, but in a mass production that saves them a lot of money and start to give them complete I remove what else? Well, from the back I haven't removed much. I think that's gonna be pretty easy to do, even with the frame on the floor. No matter what, I gotta lift it up to get the hoses and everything up. I'm gonna work on that. Of course, I removed the spare tire. That's pretty easy, self-explanatory. And in the front, I also removed the transmission cooler lines. Those are half-inch. I capped them off too, so make sure they're not leaking. And I removed the power steering connection. This is an electric power steering, so I removed the connections. I have not released or loosen up the steering rack. I can do that on the floor, so I have a steady tires on the front when I'm moving the car back and forth. But I also released all the bolts for the battery. I'm going to bring the car down and relocate the vehicle so I can put the jack holding the battery to lift the body up, and then roll the frame backwards to start taking suspensions out and fuel tank. See, that's the bend. Hopefully you can see more of the collapse of the frame in there. I also loose up the straps from the tank from underneath, so I have to be fighting with those when the car is down. But that's pretty much what I think I need to do, at least with the car race. I'm going to, of course, remove all the lines, fuel lines, and all the harness from this frame to the other frame, but I will do that when I have the frame right next to the other one. Alright, so I'm going to bring the car down and see if I can get this body up. I got the body out. Just want to show you also locations of a ground. This one on the side of the chassis. Make sure that you remove this one. It goes from the chassis to the body. Everything else is very straightforward. There's 6 bolts that hold the frame to the body, 18 millimeters. 4 of them, they just drop, and the front ones that stays on the bushing, as you can see there. Just gotta be careful lifting this up. Make sure that you're not going to rip any wiring. So far as everything looks good, I'm going to push the frame backwards so I can start removing the engine and transmission and everything up. But so far so good. Alright guys, I will keep going. Got the engine and the transmission out. Let me show you where I hold that. Well, I didn't find any way to attach the strap onto the engine, so I went over to the motor mounts with a strap and around on the back of the transmission. It's just fairly quick up, get it out of the frame, and then rest it onto the same engine jack. I got the new frame onto jack stands so I can start transferring stuff. I removed the tank. That's the fuel tank from the truck. It's just 2 straps, 15 millimeters. The connections for the fuel pump and the filler hose. Evap lines you have to remove too. So right now my idea is to remove the rear suspension, raise up the chassis with like a stand on the back so I can roll out, because this is just such a long frame that it's taking all my space. But I have to do it, so I'm going to start taking the hoses out, all the brake lines, all the connections for ABS lines, and probably going to transfer the harness, the frame harness, over to the new frame. All these plastic resting chims, they're called those chims, and the tire, the spare tire, what do you call that? I don't know, the spare tire mechanism or holder. And I'm going to remove the rear shocks up from the top. These bushings you need to transfer too. I'm talking about those. It's pretty simple. Just I like to do this with the frame ready to receive, so I don't have to be guessing where everything goes. So I'm going to start transferring stuff, all the clips for the muffler hangers. I removed some of the body supports. I have to remove the rack and pinion, the front suspension, the anti-lock brake module, and the brake lines too as well. So I'm going to start doing that. But everything is going good. It's just a lot of space for one car, for one job. Alright, I already transferred all the suspension from the old one to the new one, of course. I'm just going to go through what I did because it was impossible for me to record and do the job. So it's actually quite simple. Let me start with the rear part. So what I did is I removed the center bolts. Those are 21, 27, 21 in the inside. Hold on one second. Let me make sure I'm aligned to you. Sorry, it's 22, 27, 24, 27. I'm a little tired, so I apologize for that. So 22, 27 and the center bolts right here. So you remove those for either side, and what I did is then I lift the frame and I put a jack just on the center to hold it, you know, higher than what I needed to release the rear ones. These ones are 22, 21, and I just remove those, push the whole rear housing forward, and then I slide it out. Of course, I remove the shock absorbers from the top, but I think I already told that before. I also transferred these two kind of like absorbers in here in case, you know, the frame reaches that point. They're like 13 millimeters. You also have to transfer all the clips, like I tell you before. It's no clips, so you have to transfer everything. Well, then that's for the rear. On the front, what I did is I raised it up, removed the tires. Then I went ahead and loosened up the bolts from the lower control arm. The ones those are 27, 21. So you make you put those loose. You remove the rack and pinion or outer tie rod to the knuckle. That's a 21 millimeter. And then you remove the strut upper mount bolts. Those are 18 millimeters. One second, guys. I have to put this back on. Let me stop this 1 second. Okay, it's better now. So okay, you remove this upper 18 millimeters. I'm going to spray paint this because I mean that was delivered to me like that. So you remove those 18, the bottom bolts, and then you're going to remove the upper bolt from the knuckle to the control arm, to the upper control arm, and that is going to come down hard. So you put a jack under the lower control arm, and then you hit right here, or you use one of those OTC to remove the ball joint. It's just one snap and it comes out. Especially with this one, it's a brand new truck. So as soon as this one is released, you lower the suspension down to the floor. The whole strut is going to be released, and then you take the whole suspension as one. Also, you need to remove, of course, the brake line from here, and it has a 10 millimeter on the bracket to hold it on the frame, and then a clip for the ABS wire. So when you remove the suspension, you still got the upper control arm in there, because you cannot remove the upper control arm with the strut in place. So you remove the suspension, and then you go, this is a 21 and 18 in the inside. Remove the upper control arm. Make sure before you remove it, you see the angle where it's located. It's kind of like a 0 degree or a 90 degree compared to the frame, right? Because you want to make sure that you put those the same image with the suspension on the bottom. The suspension has to be release of like, you know, not high and not too low. So kind of like the way right now, this is where you want to tie the suspension up on the bottom part, right? So, and then the reverse order to install. Before you put the control arms, actually you can do it even if you put the lower control arms and everything. You need to transfer the rack and pinion. This one has a 27 millimeter and a 21 millimeter. Don't ask me why it's different sizes. It's just the way it is. If you forgot to transfer that before you put the whole suspension, all you got to do is remove this universal arm. It's a 10 millimeter from here. It's only one way to install this, so just make sure that you put it with this rubber facing down, because it can go, let me see if it can go either way, just to make sure that I'm telling you guys the truth. No, so there's only one way that you can install. This one has a square, as you can see. The other one has kind of like a round and then a triangle, so you cannot put it backwards. So this is pretty much what I have done. I'm going to install the engine. Before I put the engine, I want to put it's kind of like two arms in here, which honestly I don't really understand what that is for, because it has nothing holding, absolutely nothing. There's two arms in here. Just gotta transfer that, and I have to flip this frame around to see what clips I have to transfer to the other one. Like, these are the kind of clips that I'm talking about, like this one in here. They don't come with a frame, so, but at least as you guys can see, it's pretty much done. The engine is pretty easy. Hopefully it's not going to give me any headaches. Alright, so let me keep going. Oh, I'm going to set up the tank. I still got the fuel tank on the floor. Then I'm just going to put a jack underneath with like a piece of 2x4, so it's not going to be just in one spot. Raise up the tank, put the two straps, 13 millimeters, tie them up, do the connections, and that's it. Alright guys. Alright, the engine transmission is attached. I put the motor mounts. The transmission mount is not a steel bolt. I also put the canister because it's kind of like easy to do it now. I'm sorry. That one is, again, is 10 millimeter bolts, very easy. The motor mount's a little tricky because this one has this pin in here. Let me point it to you. That one right there, and it has a hook on the bottom. So you have to make sure that that one goes in first, and then you just see the other one down. I also put on the harness for the engine, it attaches to the frame on this side. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So it has a 10 millimeter bolt in here, and this is a ground. Make sure that it's attached secure. And I'm pretty much ready to bring the engine and the body back together. Alright guys, this is the end of the video. I just want to show you, everything is pretty much done. I have not recharged the AC. I already connected the computer, the grounds, the hoses for the air conditioning, the hoses for the expansion tank on the radiator. I put the air filter, as you can see. I put the ground. There's on this side. I don't know if I showed this before on the video, but you need to remove this crown in here. I put the brake lines. I still got to bleed the car. I connect the brake booster back in line too as well. Tie the body onto the car. I put the muffler. I put the dry shaft. Tied everything. Put the undercovers. I still got to put the body on the back, but that's something not really necessary to have in the video. That is just super simple, super easy. Especially this one, like I said again, it's a aluminum body, so it's very, very light. Alright guys, hope you like the video. Please thumbs up and share my stuff. If you don't like it, just let me know what you don't like about the video, and try to, like that, I will try to improve what I'm doing. Alright, see you next time. Thanks a lot.